Hiya managers, and welcome to the latest episode of Tinker Talks, a pod dedicated to 31 Fantasy Premier League managers and their season's journey in the Just Tinkering the Oars League. They compete in the most comprehensive fantasy football competition known to man. League glory awaits for the most dedicated of tinkerers, but nestled across the season, 2 Champion Leagues, 2 Cups, Manager of the Month and much more. We have a rigorous review of the past week's shenanigans in the sharing of where it went right or wrong this week. There'll be comment and discussion on tactics, transfers and general tinkering with me, League Chairman Rog, often accused of embezzlement, match rigging and receiving of unsolicited brown envelopes. And eventually we'll get Dr. G, our strategic genius, our wild card Game Week 2 strategic genius. Game Week 3 was when we reflected on the life and achievements of Sven-Göran Eriksson. It was a week full of goals and where clean sheets were a premium. Haaland with 7 goals in 3 games this season. He got his first away hat-trick for City in the Premier League and a goal record of 70 scored in 69 games. As City romp on, 10-man Arsenal are held by Brighton and Pedro scores again. Fulham disappointing against Ipswich. Dominic Calvert-Lewin delivers, but horrible histories for Everton. They are the first club in Premier League history to be 2 up after 87 minutes and then go on to lose the game. Wissa and Buemo provide attacking returns for Brentford. Isaac gets his first goal of the season. Gordon blanks. And Sterling now plays for Arsenal. Game Week 3 had an FPL average of 64 points. Our Tinkers League was 70, so well done everybody. Some fab scores this week. 2 teams with 89 points, but I was hit by a transfer. My extra transfer this week cost me a -4 hit, and I was down to 85 points, level with Dr. G. Rich, Steve, Pete, Tommy and Michelle all with 80 plus scores this week. Jake's 11 takes our Manager of the Week award with an impressive 89 points and an overall rank of 324,980. In his team, we've got Salah, Saka, Isaac and Pedro, all on form for Graham. Not to mention Haaland. Every now and then, they were leaders after Game Week 2, saw their 12-point advantage in the August Manager of the Month competition swallowed up. 1 point Anchors FC with 85 points take the Manager of the Month award by 6 points from a gaggle of teams. This is Dr. G's first ever Manager of the Month award and he's really chuffed. 1 point Anchors totaled 246 points over the 3 games, averaging 82 points a game week. A wild card in Game Week 2 seems to be a masterstroke. Kevin De Bruyne, Son, Isaac, Trent and Solanke all saw their marching orders in Game Week 2 for Gareth. Haaland was one of those coming in. 1 point Anchors now have a very Liverpool heavy midfield with Jota, Diaz and Salah. Following all the pomp and accolade of August Manager of the Month, 1 point Anchors are obviously top of the shops in the overall league as well. And another first, Dr. G's never been top of the table ever. We've got 14 points that cover the top 8 teams as it stands so far. In the Chuff to Bits Challenge League, this week's top performer is Samba with 13 points. There was no entries from Danny or Luke. Overall in the Challenge League, every now and Ben lead the way, Michelle in second and Steve in third. The Game Week 4 challenge is too big at the back. Clean sheets are worth double points. Your squad may only contain 2 goalkeepers and 3 defenders. Moving on to Champions League and Group 1. Tommy came out victorious in the top of the table clash. Rogers, Dodgy Lodgers and Steve joined Ben on 6 points. That's 1-2 and lost 1. Pete wins the bottom of the table battle, leaving Lee stranded rock bottom. It's top versus bottom in Game Week 4 and Rogers, Dodgy Lodgers against Every Now and Ben in the jostle for a top 3 finish. 1 point Anchors and Badger Attack both win their 3rd games on the bounce and continue to hold 1st and 2nd, respectively. Graham's victory over Nige leave Jenks 11 sandwiched in 3rd, 3 points behind the leaders, and 3 points ahead of the chasing pack. Ben wins the battle of the bottom two and Seattle move up to 5th. Leaders 1 point anchors against Seattle next week, 2nd versus 3rd, that's Rich against Graham in game week 4. It's back-to-back wins for the two Chris's, that's AC McClure and Pez's FC. 2025 had a bye and also gives them a 1-2 and lost 1 record so far. John's Singapore Slingers are still 100% so far in qualification. They have their bye coming up in match day 5. So it's 2nd to 5th, all on 6 points. Game week 4 sees Chris McClure up against Christoph, and group leaders John play Paul's Wanderers in 6th. In Group 4, Reece, Michelle and Alex all win, or at least accumulate 3 points, and all have 100% 9 points from 3 game records so far. The top spot swaps back to Michelle. Michelle had 82 points this week, highest in the group, and a bye opponent to boot. Reece drops down to 2nd on total FPL points scored, only 1 point behind Michelle. Maybe a little too heavy on the Fulham players this week, Reece? But still enough to overcome Danny's not very athletic team. Alex's comprehensive victory over Paul's Strumners keeps him in 3rd. Dan's heroes are back on winning ways with victory over Ben's Smalley Stalwarts. And that leaves Ben and Danny yet to score a point this year. Come on, chaps. Danny up against league leader Michelle in match day 4. It doesn't get any easier for you, Danny. Ben at least can take stock safe in the arms of a bye fixture. And there's also Hopkins' family rivalry this week as Dan and Alex face off. 3 game weeks ago it seemed to be one of Haaland or Salah and spread your cash across your squad. Now with both of them being the top highest scores and looking absolutely fabulous, surely it's a wild card week if you don't have them both already. If you're transferring out any Arsenal assets, you'll want to bring them back in game week 6 when their fixtures get better. But for the moment, Liverpool have lovely fixtures. The only team with a 100% defensive record so far. Trent also showing form and on set pieces. He's in for me this week. Do you need 2, possibly 3 represented from the Reds? Dr. G thinks so. Chelsea made a bold statement as well. Palmer's not been named and they're playing in the European squad, so surely will be a regular FPL starter, so possibly worth a punt. Fixtures certainly get better for Chelsea in game week 12. Talking of Europe, the Lesser Champions League starts on the 17th and 18th of September, and because of that, maybe Foden has a run against Brentford this week. To anyone having or transferring in Brighton's Pedro, a word of warning. A late South American international game on Wednesday might affect a full game appearance for Brighton. Thinking of your captain's choices, is it going to be Haaland at home to Brentford and on for a hat-trick of hat-tricks in the Premier League, or is it Salah home to Forest, which seems on paper a better fixture? And I'll leave you with a question for you to consider. What sort of manager are you? Do you spend heavily on the playing team and a low-cost bench? To be fair, that's my core philosophy this year. Or are you a Marmite, Vegemite manager spreading the cash thinly across the squad and inevitably regretting leaving 12 on your bench? So wrap it up for this week. FPL deadline is 11 AM on Saturday. If you're in the Challenge League, don't forget to put an entry in. Go and visit gsl.webador.co.uk for the group info, fixtures, results, tables and any other useful links that I put on there. And if you do have the time, the Scout tab on the FPL website is worth reviewing. And for planning live scores over the game week weekend, visit Live FPL. You can use 483931 as a league code. And if you need your player ID, send me a WhatsApp message and I'll send you it back. Good luck, managers. Hoping all your players play 60 minutes or more this week.